gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. My name is Drew. He's Chops, and we're talking all things combat sports, focusing on boxing again this week. Chops, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. We're recording this on Juneteenth, and we're just in time for that Brian Norman Jr. recap that we'll get to shortly here. So I'm excited to talk about that. I know you are too.
I am. And before we get to that, like I said, man, I don't know. You went away with with my man, the carries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got away from him. So now what are these like? What are these like the Lennons? Are these like the John? Is that the John Lennon look?
The Lennon collection. It's also the Flipper Purify collection from Jungle Fever, if you recall.
Oh yeah, man.
I dug those so much. I bought a faux pair just so I could wear them to school.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. No, I'm not kidding you. I was a fan. I don't know why I didn't go back to them sooner.
Hold on. So let me ask you something. Where did you grow up? What state did you grow up in and go to high school?
Yeah, Marine City, Michigan. I grew up there. I was born in Royal Oak, which is a pretty good sized suburb of Detroit. But we were only there till I was 4, and then we moved up to Marine City, and I went to school through there.
Okay, because you referenced the Jungle Fever, right? The Wesley Snipes joint, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, when your high school, was it mixed, predominantly white, black, or even pretty much the whole way through?
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of diversity. We had a foreign exchange student from France and one from Poland.
No.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. My senior year,
Mm-hmm.
now from, like I told you, from a super duper small town, but everybody from surrounding areas came to my high school. So it was kind of weird how it was set up, but we graduated almost 500 students my senior year, right? Now, mind you, my hometown we only had one stoplight, and it wasn't even downtown, right? Mm-hmm. However, we graduated almost 500 students, only 4 black, all male, and we were all cousins. So, yeah, man. So, yeah, I was definitely. So, when you referenced the Jungle Fever, I was like, what?
How did you hear about that?
Yeah, what? The only thing that might have been worse if you just, no, I didn't. If you just said, man, you remember the Dwayne Wayne glasses from, and yes, I was like, so when you said Jungle Fever, I was like, what? Yeah, man. Yeah. That took me back.
One of the greatest characters, or supporting characters in a movie, was Gator.
Oh man,
Samuel was Gator. Awesome.
Absolutely. So hold on, real quick, man. What made you switch up? I mean, because you did it. You referenced it last week.
I did.
What made you switch up now? Did you just ready? Did the missus want to try to hip you with the newer fashion, or what was it?
Actually, I was getting headaches from wearing them up here all the time. Because even in my regular life, they're up there all the time, and I was starting to get headaches, and I was like, man, I can't keep doing this.
Okay, so are these new ones here, the Lennon joints, are they the same prescription? They're significantly lighter, I'm assuming, but are they the same script as the Harry Carries?
Yeah, the readers are. The bifocal part is but the top. I have 20/20 vision actually from a distance, so it's just kind of sharpening it, but it's actually good.
Do you flip them up? Well, I mean, I'll be able to tell when we're doing this. Do you flip them up as much as you did the Harry Carries, or not at all?
No, I don't need to, because I can see through the tops fine. If I got to wait, I just tilt up and we're good to go.
I got you. New man.
Yeah.
I got you. And I saw that I had the references, see, with the new joints on.
Yeah.
Now, how do they feel so much lighter? Do they feel significantly different, or smaller, lighter?
You definitely feel different. Yeah.
Do you like it?
I got to get used to looking with the bifocal part of it. I got to get used to that. If I'm closer to things, but if I look up and watch, like I look at TV or something, and I look down at what I'm reading, it's like perfect.
I got you. But no headaches, no dizziness or nothing.
Nope, none of that.
See, you're good to go, Jack.
We go. I'm ready. I'm
You're
ready.
good to go. Let's get it rocking and rolling, brother.
All right. Let's get started here. We got a few fights we're going to talk about. Richardson Hitchins, Andy Cruz, and of course Brian Norman Jr. and many more things. But let's start out with that Brian Norman Jr. fight. Happened this morning, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we watched it. Chops, I know you did. I did too. KO round 5. Brian Norman Jr. defends and retains the WBO welterweight championship. Man, talk about his performance.
Okay. The performance, he did what he was supposed to do. He really did. And now I will. Sasaki threw hard. He really did.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I don't know if he's just not accurate with his firing, Sasaki, or if it goes more to the point of Norman's defense. And you can go back and rewatch this after you and I speak, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because he missed Norman a lot. But there were only a couple punches where I saw Norman actually, boom, duck. There was one in the corner where Norman ducked it. It was perfect. It was almost like a Hollywood movie, the way he ducked that punch. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
But in a lot of times, you know, Sasaki would throw his punch and he might have extended, I'm just picking these numbers again arbitrarily, 12 inches, where if he'd extended 13, he'd have got him. You know what I mean? So again, now I remember years ago, just follow me, Tyson, before he was winning, but I don't think he had the belt yet. But he was in an interview and he said, I don't need to make the guy miss by much. All I need to make you do is miss by an inch, just as long as you miss. And so Tyson would do that a lot, and he would duck, and the guy was missing him. I didn't see a whole lot of head movement making him miss, but Sasaki just wasn't firing. Now, again, I don't know if Norman's speed gave Sasaki so much trouble to where he didn't look like himself. And I say where I didn't look like himself is because he just wasn't hitting. But Norman wasn't he wasn't Pee Wee Whitaker. He wasn't being Floyd with the short. He wasn't James Toney in any of that with his defense. Mm-hmm. So he did what he was supposed to do. Went over there for 2 weeks. I'm the champ. Why am I coming here? Did what he was supposed to do and handled business. He handled business. I mean, I got more, but I want to let you get it. Get some in.
Yeah, and that's what impresses me because I don't want to take for granted. Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. Yep. But look at how many fighters have not been doing what they're
Exactly.
supposed to. I'm really impressed with Brian Norman Jr. Like you said, he went to Japan as the champion for 2 weeks. He goes there. I mean, Sasaki, not well known here. I mean, admittedly, I had to do a lot of film study to see him because I just haven't seen a lot of his fights. Pretty impressive fighter, though, skill-wise. But you always say, well, who's he really fought? Let's see what he does. Yeah, you bring up a really good point. He seemed to have trouble locating Norman. And that, I don't know how to explain that. Quite frankly, it's kind of odd. You don't see that very often.
Well, you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I know he's had a loss. I don't know how many times Sasaki has been knocked down because to me, perfect placement or he threw the hook and he landed perfect with the first knockdown, the first round on the top of the head. I don't know because that's how Piccoli got knocked out, right? That top of the head, it just shifts you, whatever have you, because it wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't powerful, but it was perfectly placed, that first knockdown. But here's what I noticed about, because there were a couple of Japanese fighters on this card, right? There was the fight right before Norman. I don't know if you were able to watch that one.
Yeah,
however. Okay. That one ended in the 6th or the 7th. And the guy that won, they call him Little Mike Tyson, right? He just walks forward. They were 146 pounds, 5'5", if that, just walks forward, and he's just throwing crazy punches. Now, Tyson had the peekaboo style. Tyson had some defense. Tyson had a nice jab. This guy was just walking you down. And even though he won, of course, that's what everybody wants to see, but the guy that lost gained some fans. The guy that lost, he took some punishment in the first 4 to 5 rounds. Crazy part is when they end up stopping it, he was taking some abuse, but he had just rocked the guy 30 to 45 seconds earlier. So it was like, oh, there's a law, a flippity action. But here's what I noticed, Drew. Two things. Number one, you can go the fight with Sasaki, Mishiro, who we're going to get into, as much as you and I both love Inoue.
Mm-hmm.
Think about Inoue when I say this, Inoue, and these fighters that fought before the fight that was before Norman Jr. And if you go back and look at the entire card, you can find a name. And I'm quite sure you go on YouTube, and find a full fight. Because again, it only went 5 or 6 rounds. Remember for years and years, they used to say like European fighters were mechanical. Your European fight, okay, they were mechanical, almost like sock'em rock'em robots, just mechanical. Japanese fighters don't have a lot of defense. They don't have a lot of head movement. They plant their feet, and they're coming right at you. They're not hard to find. Think about, and we're both Inoue fans.
Oh yeah.
But think about this. Inoue's been knocked down a couple times.
Yeah.
Because he's not hard to find. He just gets off before you get off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if you notice that with even Sasaki, he stood right in front of Brian Norman the entire time. Yeah. You're going to stand in front of a guy, and your feet were planted. I mean, basically planted. You're going to stand in front of a guy whose skill set is better than yours, whose hands are faster than yours. I noticed that, man. Now, and when
that's a terrible game plan, by the way.
Oh, terrible
game plan.
But here's the thing, Drew. Now think about this, because I'm going to ask, and I want you to answer it.
Okay.
We say a terrible game plan. However, we like America. Now we like Inoue, and we like some Cuban fighters, Puerto Rican fighters, whatever have you. So I'm not. But we are Americans. We follow some of the greatest guys we've ever liked, whether it's Tony, whether it's Ali, whether it's Floyd, whomever it is. Most of our top 10 are going to be American fighters. They just are. Okay, they just are. So we use the word toolbox, game plan, right? What is the game plan? Can you make the in-fight adjustments? Yep. I don't know that a lot of other cultures do that, and I definitely didn't see that in these Japanese fighters. Think about it. As much as you love Inoue, he fights one way. He's coming right at you. It's almost like they're all kamikaze warriors. And you saw Sasaki in this one. He's standing there like, come on, dude.
Yep.
That's high school. What are you doing? You don't stand there, hit me. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I'm saying that to say, you said a terrible game plan. I would like to see what they list as a game plan, because whether we talked about Mishiro, Inoue, they're all fighting the same way, coming straight at you. Their best punch may be something different than Inoue's, may be better than Sasaki, this, that, whatever have you. But they're all pretty much the same to me from what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? And then we thought about this, right? I did. Because I too, man, he looks impressive. He throws heavy punches, this, that, and the third. But when you're at that level, most guys should throw heavy leather. You know what I mean? Even if you're not considered a knockout artist, maybe because the guys you're fighting, you just can't get good shots on. Mm-hmm. But if you're just going to sit there and hit the bag, or somebody just put their hands down, I don't care if you're a 130 guy, you should be able to knock the average 200-pound guy out on the street. You know what I mean? So, but what I'm saying that is, when all these guys are throwing, you're not worried. Now, Inoue's is different, but a lot of these guys, you weren't worried about the jab. They're throwing heavy shots, heavy hooks, heavy overhand rights. You know what I mean? And that to me is not much of a game plan. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta believe the way Americans fight and the way Norman's fight. We're gonna get into this the way Americans fight. However, I don't know how much of a game plan he had. I'm a warrior. I go out on my shield. I come forward with everybody else I fought. Norman is a man of flesh and blood. Would they say in the old movie, if it bleeds, we can kill it. You know what I mean? So that's how, and I think that was his game plan, for lack of a better term. But I don't know, man. And I'm going to say this. I love Inoue. We're big Inoue fans.
Yeah.
But when you step it up, you get outside of Japan, you start fighting athletes and boxers that are world class in the top 10, and they're in different cultures and bring different styles, I don't know. I don't know how well that style is going to work. I just don't. I just don't. You can't, come on, Drew, you can't stand in front of a guy the entire fight. You can't. That's not a recipe for long-term success.
Even Inoue, who's great fighter, and he undefeated. But how many more fights is he going to handle like that, where he's kissing the canvas?
I know.
I mean, when he starts stepping up.
Yes,
he's been fighting. He fought Stephen Fulton, impressive win.
But that was at 122.
That's true.
I want to see that at 126 or possibly 130 if he could get there. And to me, it looks like anyway could get there. You know what I mean? But once you start talking Stephen Fulton and other cats, you know what I'm saying? From whatever it may be, depending on how he goes, or different guys at 130 or they come down to 126, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. They're going to throw punches that that Inoue wouldn't see. And again, I don't want to get on Inoue, but I noticed that about the style. Sasaki was there to be hit the entire fight. Now, I will admit to you, because he was throwing such heavy leather, I was worried. Is Norman going to get clipped? Is Norman going to get clipped? He got hit solid a time or two, which you expect. At this level, that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But when I say he did what he was supposed to, it was still impressive. I don't want to say a hostile environment because they are, as a culture, they are respectful. You know what I mean? They're respectful people, whatever have you. And you notice after the fight, he bowed to all four sides, just giving that respect. However, for lack of a better term, it's a hostile environment. There's nobody there. The four guys in your corner are the only people that are screaming Brian Norman Jr. You can believe that.
Oh, yeah.
So as the champ, I go over to your environment. You know what I mean? Take it and just have to take it. I mean, I'm bringing the belt, but I've got to take it. I've got to do what I need to do. And it was impressive, man. And like we said, there are other guys, and there's nobody lined up for him right now. However, he knew he needed to have an impressive win to keep chirping, to keep calling out other guys. And he did what he was supposed to do. He really did. He did what he was supposed to do, and he did it in spectacular fashion. That was what, man, he did.
The lights were out.
Yes. And even before the knockout came, did you see some of the punches? And you saw Sasaki on Quiz Street, but he had the heart of a lion. He kept coming back. Okay. And what else I liked? And a lot of those punches, what they were doing, and it was different. I understand it was top rank, but I don't know if it because it was in Japan or what it was. But the feed, the way they did the replays was different. The commentary just, I don't know, it was just a different feel, a different vibe. You know, when we watch football, if you're watching CBS, it's different from Fox, it's different from it's just different. So, and when I'm saying that, I'm saying it to say that just the way the feel was, he did what he had to do, and he won in an impressive fashion. And I liked when they're slowing it down on some of the replays, you could see Brian Norman's eyes looking at what he wanted to punch. Some guys are throwing a punch and they're looking here, but the punch is going up there just because it's so fast in the moment. He was throwing with precision. He was hitting. Yeah. He was looking. He was seeing what he was hitting. It was impressive. And that hook, he saw where he was throwing at. Your boy Sasaki never saw it. Never saw it. Dude, and I was worried. Listen to me. First off, I don't even know why the refs started counting. You didn't need.
I was shocked. He got to 6, I think, and then he finally called it. And it's
yes,
like, he's out cold.
Dude, if you didn't, okay, I get that when Fury dropped Tyson, that when Wilder dropped Tyson, Fury in the 12th, Fury laid there like he was dead for a second, but he was looking at the ref. You could see there was somebody home.
Yeah.
That's not the case in this. Why did you even start? And even if you started counting 1 because you might have looked at Brian Jr., make sure he's gone, or you're not paying attention, I get that. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you look at this guy by 2, 3, what are you counting for? What are you counting for? Because if you noticed, even before they called for it, they had the stretcher in the ring instantaneously.
Yeah.
That to me, that there was no need to count on that, man. No need.
I agree. And I mean, a lot of times it was kind of scary too. I mean, a lot of times when guys get knocked down, they'll be breathing heavy and the mouthpiece kind of gets a bit and the eyes are kind of rolling, but he was just laying there.
I know. It's a lot of times guys are, and they'll make that noise and they're breathing heavy. You didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
Any of that. I was worried. I was worried. I was like, are you kidding? When he dropped and fell lifeless, he was lifeless in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
That is the kind. He's different, and that culture is different. Mentally, he'll bounce back. But that's the type of knockout. There's fighters that may not come back from that. Yeah. There's fighters that may not come back from that type of knockout.
Well, I mean, look at that. That's the same kind of hook that old King Rye got Haney with. About Haney later on, but yeah, I mean that makes you think. I mean, because it's such it's a quick snapping punch that there's any weight behind it or any torque behind it, man. It's a dangerous punch.
Yes, absolutely. And let me ask you this: if you're Brian Norman, do you start calling out 147s, and who do you call out?
That's a good question. I
know he's been tied to Ennis. That's what, or is there somebody else you'd rather see him? Boots has a belt. You're hot right now. If that's the one that makes the most sense to get the money, go get it. Get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to see him stay where he's at least for the time being. I suppose, and that is where he's at 147. So a lot of times guys want to immediately move up, but he's, keeping where he's at. The thing is that weight class, I mean, Barrios is fighting Pacquiao, right? Coming up on the 19th of July. Romero, now he's the WBA champion. There's a name.
Yeah.
So, we'll see, but it's interesting, but I think, Barrios would be an obvious one if he can take care of Pacquiao. That's one I would maybe like to see. Romero would be a good fight with Norman too, no question. Not sure if that'll happen, but those are interesting fights to me.
Well, here's the thing about Barrios. Barrios, to me, he wasn't on like a long win streak or beat the champ. I think that belt was given to him. It was given to him, or you know what I mean. So, but hey, he's got the belt. If he can beat Pacquiao, then by all means, because if that's a belt you want, then you're gonna have to go through Barrios, Boots, whatever have you. To me, though, it's different from when we were watching it. When we were growing up watching it, guys are all about the bag now. Who's the biggest fight? That to me, at that 147, it's got to be. Wouldn't you think? Because Rolly didn't do a whole lot when he beat King Rye. Garcia just did nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Boots has beat his last guy. Norman has won his last two fights impressive. If I'm Norman, I'm calling for Boots. I'm calling for Boots. Just because if I can get, first off, win or lose, that's a huge payday. But if I can win, getting Rolly, getting whether it's an older Pacquiao or Barrios, that'll come. You know what I mean? If I'm, and you've already started calling out Boots, so you might as well stay consistent.
Yeah, I would agree in that regard, no question. I think thing is that I'm not sure. I kind of would like to see him take on Romero though. I don't know why. I think that would be a nice fight, but I would like to see him fight Romero. I got a feeling Boots gonna be a handful for him.
Oh, without question. Well, here's the thing. If you tell me he's fighting Rolly, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather see him fight Boots, but I'm definitely gonna watch that. And only because they're both hot right now. Not trying to be funny. Stanionis, I don't really want to see Norman fight him. Now, of course, if you want to, by all means, you think, but there's more bad that can go right. More bad can happen than good. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. So there's that. To me, if you, and here's the thing, Rolly's not ranked higher than Norman Jr., is he?
No. Norman Jr., according to Ring, now the the welterweight ring title is vacant, but Norman Jr. is considered the number one in ring in the Ring magazine rankings, which I trust that more than the individual.
Yeah. I got you.
Too.
I got you. So I got you. Barrios, yeah. Ebenezian, I don't know. And when I say now, any of those guys, I'd like to see him fight. I'm just saying when I'm saying I'm not sure, I'm strictly going over Boots. I don't think I want to see that. I want to see Boots first and foremost against Norman Jr. But if they can't sign that in any of the other top 4 or 5 and the top 5 to 6, I'm cool with that as well. You know what I mean? Don't get it twisted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but a great performance by Brian Norman Jr., no question.
Without question.
So it'll be exciting to see what happens next. So let's talk about our next fight here from last weekend. Richardson Hitchins defeats George Kambosos Jr. TKO in the 8th round. He retains the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship. Not unexpected, but I thought it was going to go to distance. You said you'd be shocked, but got past the 8th. It got to the 8th.
Yeah.
He shot.
Yeah. Okay. Couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Couple things. Okay. Let me ask you something. Everybody, and I'm not even saying anybody ever actually gave Kambosos a shot to win this. However, if you tried, and not using Drew, you as a collective view, if you tried to sell this as Kambosos may give him a fight, what was everybody saying? Going back to his performance against Teofimo.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this, Drew. How long can a fighter go on a past performance? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we've seen, because going into that, Teofimo was the favorite. Kambosos just dug deep. Teofimo looked off. We talked about it, maybe when he was going in his personal life, the marriage, the divorce, maybe that played a part. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, that night, we have to admit, Kambosos fought the fight of his life. Everything was perfect. Okay, great. Since then, against top competition, he has not looked as good. However, we all kept trying to say that sliver of hope. Well, he had the great fight against Kambosos or against Teo. That was in 2021, almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But we all still talked about it. How long in your mind can you go back and think a fighter can live off past lore, if that's what you want to call it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Wow. Again, you got to follow it up with something like you can't keep regressing. And that's what it seems like Kambosos has done. I'm not saying terribly, but he just strikes me as a fighter. Like you said, he put it all together. Everything worked out. He brought his A+ game, and Teo was not at his A+ game, obviously. Like you said, he had a lot of issues going on in personal life. He did not perform well. Kambosos took advantage of it. But I don't believe George Kambosos at his best would have beaten Devin Haney, and he didn't. He got beat on, but he's a tough guy. He's a tough.
Without question.
He got stopped with a body shot and then got overwhelmed. But he's a tough guy to hurt on the chin. I rarely ever seen him really knock silly. He's a tough fighter, but he's able to take abuse. So it's like after a performance like that, 2 or 3 fights, and if you don't show some improvement, even if you take a step backwards, you got to show something, or else it's like, yeah, you had a good night, like you said. But it seems like people keep going to the well with him because number one, he's a willing opponent. He's game. Yeah. People know him because he's got that moment, and he's fought some other good fighters, didn't win, but he's fought them. And, of course, fans like us, we're going to watch it, but I didn't have any anticipate him actually winning the fight, but I thought he'd give him a good fight, and he's a tough guy, but didn't really think Hitchins would lose that fight. So
no, not at all. And here's the crazy part.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see Kambosos become a gatekeeper, but I don't see him unless he's in his own home country. I don't see him drawing big name. I don't see him drawing big ticket sales. Okay, and he did. He fought the fight of his life against Timo. However, in the other fights of anybody with skill set, he lost. Okay, he lost, right? Now, one of the announcers had talked about the body shot, and sometimes you get a body shot, the body doesn't recover. What are you talking? But what are you talking? That's why you lift weights. That's why you try to get stronger to build the body. Now, mentally, you may not recover.
Yeah,
is we're seeing with Devin Haney. Mentally, you may not recover.
Exactly.
However, to me, that solar plex area, which you've been hit if you spar, that solar plex area, I don't care how much muscle you have, the solar plex area and that soft liver shot, there's no defense for that. There's no defense for that. Now, yes, that shot from Hitchins might have caught some liver as well. But that was nicely placed to the midsection. That was nicely placed. And as long as Kambosos has been doing it, Heart of a Lion, he's scrappy. You can bang amongst the head and shoulders, and he's gonna keep coming. He's not built for body blows. Devin Haney beat him to the body. Lomo knocked him out to the body. You saw him wince in pain with that body shot, that hook to the body.
Oh yeah.
There are just some things and it's kind of funny because you hear it all the time. They'll say, keep your hands up, protect yourself at all times, keep your hands up. And they'll say, answer the phone, answer the phone, answer the phone. You know what that means. Mm-hmm. They'll tell you to keep your arms in tight, trying to protect the body. But there's a lot of cats. Think about this. If guys know they have a weak chin, they'll keep their hands up.
Yeah.
But if you can't take a body shot, there's really no going back to the drawing board to get you to toughen up to take a body shot. Either you can take it or you can't. We know Usyk doesn't like body shots. We've him, whether it was Dubois, whether it was Fury, he gets hit the body. He doesn't like it. Nope. We've seen Kambosos a couple times. They just, you know what I'm saying? Those are certain things where I'm like, you can practice on your jab. You can get your defense better getting your head off the line. Yep. You can, try to make sure I keep my hands up so I can defend myself. They'll hit glove before they hit the jaw. But there's not a whole lot of ways to turtle up to protect your body much more. And when you're fighting a guy that throws with precision and speed like Hitchins does, and Hitchins did, Kambosos, and that, let's not even talk about the jab. Mm-hmm. Was Hitchins' jab on point, or was that jab on point?
You like to see it. It's the first offensive weapon that every fighter should have.
And people don't realize it until you see it like we did. How much the jab opens everything up. When he was in the fact that he kept hitting Kambosos with the textbook jab, overhand, clubbing right, he kept doing it. But then when he was throwing that left hook in, a left hook lead, wow, that when you can throw, who was Ali fighting? And he kept hitting him with a right hand lead. And you're like, a right hand lead is something different because you got to come across your body to throw a right hand lead, which means your opponent should see it. You shouldn't be as successful with that. When he, as in Hitchins, was throwing a left hand, a hook lead, wasn't setting it up, you just knew everything was on for him. Everything was firing on all cylinders at that point. Oh, yeah. And Hitchins, to me, Teofimo called him out. He called out Teofimo once Teofimo told him to come up in the ring, this, that, and the third, whatever have you. Teo said, well, what do the fans want to see? If you saw that, he said, what do the fans want to see? Yeah. He never said, yeah, I'll fight him. Yeah, let's do it. He was like, if that's what the fans want to see, if that's where the money, what do you want, Teo? I mean, guys they're big Twitter warriors or whatever they call them, you know what I mean? Keyboard warriors. When the man standing in front of you, do you or do you not want to fight him? Teo's hot. You know what I'm saying? Hitchins, you're trying to come up. And the crazy part about it is, let's not forget a few months ago, Teofimo offered Hitchins a BS contract. And Hitchins was like, I'm not signing this. And Teofimo tried to call him out. So now I'm asking, Teo, you knew you tried to shortchange him. Now he's coming up. Now he's looking you eye to eye. My name is hot. Your name is hot. Maybe even if Teofimo, because people know him more than they know Hitchins, maybe he gets a 60-40, 55-45 split. I don't know. But you realize Teofimo is going to get the lion's share of that purse. I get that.
Yep.
But do you think Teofimo sort of gave him a BS bid knowing, or a BS offer knowing he wouldn't take it? He didn't come on TV and say, yeah, let's do this fight. What are the fans? Because he's doing everything not to get into the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even when Teofimo offered him low money, Tio hadn't been looking all that great himself. He just went, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's hard. Number one, Lopez is, and you don't know what you're going to get from him from day to day. So, what was the rationale behind it? Maybe it was irrational. Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure, but I would really like to see that fight. I think that would be a nice fight. I mean, Lopez has the WBO and the ring titles. Hitchins has the IBF title. Let's get it. And I would agree. I think a 60-40 split would make a lot of sense. Certainly Lopez, he's got the 2 belts technically. So
yeah.
And he's the better known fighter, but nonetheless, they're both champions. So I think it should be that way. And I would really love to see that fight.
Well, they are both champions, but I think we'd have to believe that Lopez's name will bring more money than Hitchins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm good with the 60-40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To understand that too, it is what it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
But a very good fight to see, no question. So we'll see. I mean, maybe in the next month or so, we never know what could shake out.
I'd like to see it. I'd love to see that. I ain't even going front. I'd love to see that, Jack. Woo, that'd be a good one.
We got one more fight we want to review here, Chops, and we were talking. There was an IBF eliminator for the lightweight title last week. Andy Cruz.
Yes.
He's now a mandatory title shot for Muratalla. And he fought Mishiro TKO in the 5th round. Cruz looked pretty impressive. What are your thoughts on the fight?
Okay, let's get to the fight before we get to the mandatory. Okay. No, let me handle the mandatory first.
Okay.
This is his 6th fight.
Yeah.
So you're going against Muratalla in your 7th fight. He is in line for a 2nd belt, mandatory. And what is going on these days? Now, yes, I admit he's a little older. How old is what is he? 27?
Andy Cruz?
Yeah.
I'm looking at
because he had an extensive
29. He's 29.
Yeah, because he had an extensive amateur background.
Yeah.
So I get you're starting late, but even Lomo, he didn't get his titles till his 10th or 11th fight?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to be able to acquire a 2nd belt by your 7th fight, it's good money if you can get it. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing. He, as in Cruz, is not your normal 6-fight pro.
No.
Like you said, I think he's double medalist in the Olympics.
Yes.
So he stayed longer. You know what I mean? Cuban fighter, what that comes with, the mindset, the work ethic in him. And he's with Enos now and his kid. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think and I hate to say this, but I don't mean hate to say it, but I don't want to jump on the bandwagon too soon. But everything, when you write it on paper, the sky is truly the limit for this cat. The sky is the limit for Cruz. Oh. It really is. But Mishiro was, just be honest with you, this was a guy, Mishiro, who was overmatched, who was easy to find. That Japanese was easy to find, didn't have a whole lot of head movement, and just stood there and won a bang. So Cruz was like, I will oblige you. My toolbox is better. My hands are faster. So if you want to stand there and not get your head off the line, fine, so be it. Fine, so be it. So to me, I wasn't impressed in the way Mishiro handled himself, and I can't say that I was impressed in the entire fight because it takes 2 to tango, but I will give Cruz his flowers because I don't even know if he knew he was going to be the mandatory for Muratalla before the fight. But he went in, 5th fight of his career, and he handled business. He handled business. And here's the crazy part, man, because at some point, you would think, well, this was his 5th fight and he had 2 knockouts. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you see guys 5 fights with 4 knockouts, 5 fights with 5 knockouts, right? You know what I mean? Whatever have you. So I wouldn't have looked at him as a knockout guy. However, with his pedigree, with his skill set, and now with Ennis is dead. You know what I'm saying? Boozy. He may start to become a knockout guy. He's going to get more aggressive. His skill sets are going to get sharper. We're sharper and he gets more aggressive. He's going to become more confident. He's going to throw harder punches. I'm interested to see over his next 3-4 fights how many knockouts he has now that he's, you know what I'm saying? I'm interested to see that because I think they've got him young enough in his pro career because we know amateurs are different from pro. Boozy got him early enough in his pro career. You're still moldable. I can get you where I need to. So I'm interested to see where that goes and where his knockout ratio goes if it starts to skyrocket.
Yeah, Muratawa is 23-0. He's 29 himself. Well, he's 28. He's a year younger than Cruz.
Yes.
Bro,
that's 22 fights. That's a lot of rounds. That's a lot of minutes. That's a lot of different styles.
Yeah. And it's
going to be interesting to see if Cruz is ready for this. And here's the thing. When this is over, take away the calendar birth dates. Take away that. Is this too fast? That's a huge difference, bro. It's huge. That is huge.
It is. It's a risk. It's interesting to think about because in a way it's a huge risk for him because I mean to take a loss that early in your pro career could hold you back significantly. You might have to fight another 10 times before you fight something.
Well, Drew, I would have said that years and years ago when you and I were doing it. Now, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's my thing. Think about this. Cruz beat Mishiro. He beat Mishiro. Not to take anything from the guy, but you're not a fighter. Mishiro's not an A fighter. Okay. Yep. So you get your 6th win.
Yep.
Now we're gonna put you in with a veteran, 23 wins, undefeated, and make you the mandatory. There's nobody else higher ranked than Cruz that could get a mandatory. Seriously, think about this. Put the numbers on paper. 6 pro fights, 6 wins. You're the mandatory against the guy. How?
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. So I think that Cruz could get outclassed. And that's what it would be. Just outclassed because
that's where it's a huge risk. You're in over your head too. Now on the flip side, he's also playing with house money. I'm 6-0.
Yeah.
If I make a good showing, I'm still right where I need to be. To your point, that's how things are looked at now. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, if he gets outclassed, that could really significantly hold him back.
And my thing would be if he gets outclassed and beat up like Haney did. Now, that may not be much of an issue because what's Muratawa's knockout rate? He's got some knockouts, but he's not a savage. He's not like Navarrete, I don't believe.
No, but he's got 17 KOs
out of his 23 wins.
Yeah, but admittedly, I don't know his resume in terms of who he's fought altogether, so I'm not going to talk out of my ass here. But he's got pop. There's no question.
But here's the thing: does Ryan beat Haney that badly if he makes weight? If he's not on PEDs, you know what I mean? So maybe he doesn't get beat that way, but if he just gets outclassed. And not beaten severely, I can come back from this. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I worry about is a young fighter and not in 29. I'm not saying age in the calendar. I'm saying 6 fights. 6 fights as he start to, remember, how did you say it? Feed your faith, starve your dogs. But in my 7th fight, I get totally abused by a guy who's younger than me, who didn't have the background that I had and the experience I thought I had. But now I'm seeing there's levels to this in the pro game compared to the amateur game.
Yep.
How does that affect him and his thinker? That's the only thing I'm worried about, brother. That's the only thing I'm talking about.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking forward to seeing the fight, but I think
without question, because he showed he's got skill set, and with Boots in that class in that camp, Boots training him, they've got some other guys in that stable, so I know he's going to have a good camp.
Yeah. So it should be really interesting. So we got a couple of topics we want to talk about. First and foremost, we want to talk about we're going to talk about Devin Haney, but he's linked to Brian Norman Jr. Now he made a claim that he will quote outprice unquote himself Brian Norman Jr. in a potential fight between both of them. So, I mean, do you think there's any truth to this, or is Haney kind of just planting the seeds for, I don't want any part of this?
There, to me, in Haney's mind, there will be truth, because I even believe his father. I think his father believes the ridiculousness he's speaking, whatever have you, right? And I say that because the dad is always out there speaking. You don't see Devin out there talking. And the crazy part is that Devin tweeted that. He didn't even say it in front of a camera, so he wasn't even out when he tweeted it. But in Devin's mind, I think Devin Haney is still going on to Devin Haney from 2 years ago, where he wants 65, 70% of the purse.
Yeah.
Norman Jr.'s coming up. Norman Jr. got a belt. So if it's not 50-50, he's going to want it. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way he got beat, Devin Haney is well known. And he was well known before the fight. But I'm not going to say that Devin Haney's name brings the same cachet right now that Brian Norman's does. Only because his last performance he ran, and the performance before that, he took a beating. Regardless, they can call it a no contest. We can't forget what we saw.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No fan is going to know Haney over Norman Jr. But the boxing fans, you and I want to see Brian Norman Jr.
I know.
And Haney actually concerns me if I see a pay-per-view price tag on it that's over $50. I'm like, seriously?
I want to see the undercard on that one. I got to see the undercard on that one. So I do think, because Norman Jr. is going to bring it. And the crazy part is, Norman Jr. has been calling out Boots. He's been going out Boots since his last fight. So why did Devin even feel the need to put him? No disrespect, but when you say price yourself out of the fight or price himself out of the fight, Norman's been winning and winning impressively in his last couple fights.
Yeah.
You, Devin, have not. So for you to even, number one, for you to even think that Norman, no disrespect intended to Danny, because you still have a nice skill set, for you to think that Norman wants to take a step backwards to fight you is crazy. And I say a step backwards, I'm hot now. I'm the champ. What do I get out of fighting and beating a Devin Haney? I want a guy with another strap. You know what I mean? Or a guy who's not coming off the performance that you had in your last one against Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. So
in that aspect, I think in his mind, first off, it's a narcissistic thought to think he's going to call you out over Boots. He called him, you know what I mean? There's other guys out there, big dog. There's other guys out there that would be a bigger fight for him. You know what I'm saying? So I do think Devin is going to put that. He even says, I want 50-50. Devin, no, you're asking for too much. But yeah, I do think Devin believes that. But it also is a way to get out of this fight. I don't think Devin wants to fight a guy that's aggressive right now. I just don't.
Especially with a lead left hook like that.
Ooh.
It reminded me of Garcia a little bit.
Dude, listen to me.
That was nasty.
He shook. He is shook. I said one, now I'm saying two. I'll give him to his second fight after that Garcia to see if he's back. I said the first fight, but first time in, you might be hesitant, whatever have you. Okay. It's the second time you'll go through an entire camp. You'll have press conferences. You'll study film. You cannot have the same fight next time out. I don't care who it again. You have to be there and roll on a bang. I'm not saying you got enough fight in the phone booth, but I need to see your feet planted a whole lot more than they were in this last fight in May.
Yeah, and that's a great segue, because now we got Devin Haney part 2, because Turk called him out. He's quoted as saying he's not interested, unquote, in having a fighter on his card that will run, and he called out Haney by name. That doesn't happen very often, Chow.
No.
So how do you take that? Is that a positive, or is that, I guess I should say, does it reflect poorly on Turk, or is it something that's going to be viewed positively from Turk and everyone's going to turn to Devin Haney and be like, well, okay, champ, what do you got?
See, here's the thing, though. And I was reading an article and I started thinking about this. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of fighters, other cultures, where we call it the sweet science, hit but not get hit. Yeah. Where a lot of these other people would have is the mindset, go out on my shield. I'm a warrior, this, that, whatever. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I'm going to finish standing up, this, that, and so forth.
Yep.
Where they'll use the ring and move around, But think about this, right? When you think of some of the most brutal fights, how many of them in trilogies and wars, how many of them were two American fighters? Even though Turki wasn't American.
No, he wasn't. He's from Canada and Italy, and he was born in Montreal, but his parents are Italian. So yeah, no, I mean
you think of whether it was Pacquiao and who's it, Margarita or
Rallis,
Marguerite, yeah, you and all those cats,
Herrera, yep,
yes,
Marquez, yeah,
okay, and I'm saying now, and there was some, and I was reading that where a lot of these guys look like Shakur Stevenson, the other guys, and Devin, they're running. That's not boxing. There's a way to box compared to running. If you want, nobody ever accused Sugar Ray of running. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever accused Purnell of running, whatever have you. Nobody ever accused Mayweather of running. Might have avoided people, but he never ran once he was in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So having said that, I get where some of these people were saying it. And we as Americans in a lot of ways have gotten, soft in a lot of ways. Oh, like you said, I heard other people say, man, is that wrong for him to call him out? If you ran, you ran. You know what I'm saying? If you ran, you ran. And it's kind of funny that even some people, you asked the question, but other people were, why are you calling him out like that? You're offended that a guy said somebody ran in a sport where they punch each other in the face for a living. Does that even make sense? You know what I'm saying? So watching them punch each other in the face doesn't offend you, but he said that he ran, that offends you. And I'm glad Turk said it because Turk realizes fans don't want to see boring. He is now in bed with Dana White. Dana White tells every fighter all the time, don't let the judges have a say. He's telling you, go out and knock him out. You have to make it a battle. Don't let the judges come into play because if you do, you never know how they'll judge. So maybe some of that's wearing off. But Turk even started paying for the fights he wanted to see. He wasn't paying and bringing in guys that dance and run. He wants to see bangs. Think about this. He's willing to put up big money for Crawford and Canelo.
Yeah.
Crawford doesn't run, but he damn sure boxes.
Oh, yeah.
So he likes to see the sweet science, as does Turk, but he don't want to see no runner. So I have no problem with this, man. I have no problem that he called him out because not trying to be funny. Mm-hmm. More people listen to Turk than listen to me and you. He got more followers on the social media, but he didn't say anything that we didn't say. He didn't say anything that Bobby Blue Bland over at the quickest stop didn't say. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
they're all saying it. They're all saying it. And if Dana, if Devin doesn't want it to be said, you got to do better. If you want people to talk about you better, you got to do better.
Yeah, change the narrative.
There it is.
No problem with it. Like I agree with you 100%. Everyone, including us, were saying it. I mean, so it's the secret.
Yes.
I think it's refreshing. It's like, yeah, we like you. We want you to fight, but I don't want runners.
I'm not doing it. Not doing it. And the fact that Turk makes his cards so first off, he packs them. He packs them with good fights. And then secondly, the fact that he is in Turk always has it affordable for the pocketbook. He wants the fans to tune in. He wants to make it. He wants to get your attention. He wants to have fighters there. You know what I mean? He wants to have fighters. He wants to have fans. He wants to show the fights fans want to see, and I love it.
Yeah,
I'm glad he called him out.
Hell yeah! I don't know what Turk's about. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
I know.
I think he's making the sport of boxing better. It's more, like you said, more affordable, and more exciting to watch. He's going to bring in the casual fans back.
Yes,
but honestly, I think he's been very, very politically correct and diplomatic. I'd be pissed if I put together that card in New York City and to have that performance. Ooh,
hot.
He embarrassed.
Hot as fish grease.
No, he's embarrassed by that, and he's pissed.
Yeah.
I don't blame Turk for speaking out. But speaking of the spoken word, Devin Haney Part 3, you brought it up. Bill Haney, he's always in the front of the camera. He's always talking. He's always on social media. but we don't see. I mean, Haney will, he's tweeted some things, but he really stays very quiet with the media. He's not getting on camera a lot. He's become very polarizing, and I don't understand. He was never like that before the Garcia fight. I mean, do you think he's that jacked up from that fight?
And we're talking about Bill.
No, I'm talking about Devin. Do you think he's really that messed up from that fight psychologically that Bill's going to need to protect him?
Yes, because he's not even showing up to events. He's not even showing up. He's not even showing up to big fights. And here's the thing. When I was growing up, if two guys got into a fight, your dad, you got to go back out and fight again. You lose, you got to fight again. Did you give your bet? You got to fight again, da, da, whatever have you. I don't know when parents started fighting for the kids. Now, if we were fighting two kids and an adult jumped in and, you're fighting somebody and your opponent's dad put his hands on you, then whoa, don't put your hands on my kid.
Yeah.
But if it's two kids, none of the parents jumped in. None. Now you have parents going to school to fight their teenage kids' foe, right? And I understand this is business, but that's what I'm getting from Bill. And it almost, as loud as you're getting, two things come across. Number one, the loudest guy in the room is normally the scariest, is the most scared.
Yeah,
the
right.
loudest guy in the room is normally right.
No question.
And number two, are you trying to convince us that Devin is still that dude? Or are you still trying to convince you and Devin that Devin is still that dude?
Very good questions.
Seriously, come on, man. We saw you get pummeled. I understand he didn't make weight. I understand he was on PEDs. Then you should have played at that aspect, not file a lawsuit. No. So you filed a lawsuit. You eventually dropped it, but you filed a lawsuit. Then you get into a Twitter war. There should have been no Twitter war. Dude, yes, you beat me, but you were 10 pounds heavier and you were on PEDs. There's a reason we can't be on PEDs. Play it that way and then keep moving. But they didn't do that. They filed a lawsuit. Then your dad's running his mouth, this, that, and the third. And then the fight you do get was supposed to be a tune-up. It really was. It was supposed to be a televised sparring session. And you ran. You had on your, she's a runner, she's a track star. I mean, literally, he ran.
It was embarrassing.
Yes. So I do think Devin's head it's gone. I'm going to wait for the second fight. I did say the first fight. I'm going to wait for the second fight. But I still don't see anything that is leading or making me believe, oh, he's back. He's ready.
I'm not like what the modern boxing fan is. I view boxing fans now like people that have a political party candidate favorites. Those folks can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Literally, they could tell you it's daylight at 3 a.m, and unless you're in Alaska, it ain't. But
yes.
They'll say, well, there's an excuse for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, so I'm just calling like I see it. I'm very unimpressed by the way he's responded to the Garcia shit. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, because you can finish this. You can get us out of here on this. Because you asked me, do I think he's gone? So I'm going to flip the script on you. Do you, Drew, mentally think he's gone or he's still shook? Do you foresee the Devin Haney of 2 years coming back?
I'm going to say the only glimmer of hope I have for him is the fact that he looks the part still. He's in impeccable condition. I love his skill set. I was really bummed. I don't like Ryan Garcia. You know that. I wanted Haney to win that fight badly. I was bummed what happened, but I wanted him to run it back. But now with Garcia taking the L, probably not going to happen anytime soon. But I don't understand why he would be that jacked up and shook up over. I really don't. He's a great fighter. I don't understand it. As great as he is. For me, maybe it might shake me up. But for him, Devin Haney, I don't know, man. I don't like that.
But here, the old saying, even the best of men are only men at best.
Very true.
And mentally, he got beat down, and the world saw it. The world saw it. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if he started buying his own clippings, because I even said it. You can't put Ryan Garcia in the ring with Devin Haney. Haney's gonna abuse him. We thought Garcia was going crazy. We did. Now, not making weight, not trying to make weight. PEDs. He sort of was going crazy to some degree. You know what I mean? Doing all that.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, big dog. If we're going to keep it a buck, I do think mentally he should, just like the bully who gets the guy who's being bullied. And all of a sudden he swings back and connects.
The mystique stuff.
Wow, I can fight. Or the bully who gets punched in the mouth, then he withers. The mind is a monster. You know what I'm saying? And the mind can trick you in a lot of things, man. And yes, he still has the skill set. I think Devin is questioning his skill set. I do.
I don't think there's any doubt, because there's no reason he would have performed the way he did in the last fight by running like that, and to be so much under wraps, so to speak, in terms of his availability and what he's saying. I don't get it.
Right now, Tio is the complete antithesis. He was the only one who looked good on that card right now. And then going in, Tio didn't have a whole lot of fanfare behind him going into that fight against, what was that, Barbosa? I can't think of it. Was that Barbosa? Okay. Yep. He didn't have a whole lot of fanfare. He wasn't a world beater, but he come out and won, and he's the only one who was there to fight, basically, right? Now, you can't have a fighting damn Tia not beater. Tiafimo is showing up at everybody's fight. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
If somehow he can get in the mix, he's showing up at everyone's fight, where Devin is nowhere to be found. His dad is, but Devin is nowhere to be found. That, to me, is telling. It really is.
It's telling, but it's also, like I said, it's perplexing to me how he's basically done a 180. But it could be as simple as, like you said, the schoolyard bully got clipped. And now I'm not calling him a bully, but that's that mentality. Like you're kind of, I'm impervious, but no, you're not.
Yeah,
and that could really shake you up mentally. But like I said, to shake me up, a guy who's never fought at any level, of course it's going to get me. But I don't know about a pro fighter of his caliber.
But we've seen pro fighters see their own blood and shut down. We've seen, you know what I mean? In the UFC, I've seen it where there's been a lot of champions that were dominant champions for years. And once they get that first loss, those losses start falling like dominoes. Guys can go 10, 12, 15 straight fights and not have a loss. Then they have a loss. Then over their next 3 or 4 fights, they might have 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I mean? It just happens. It happens.
Yep, it does. And it's I want, like I said, I like Devin Haney. I still think he's a great fighter in terms of his skill set. I want to see him come back strong. I really do. And he's still a young guy, but he's got to own his own career too.
Yes.
Man. To me, not only are you mentally shook from the beating you took, but you're so subservient to anybody.
Your dad is fighting your battles.
Yeah, that's where it's like, no, Pops, I got this. And that's step up.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, man.
But hey, this is great talking. We went a few minutes over, but that's okay because we're talking the sweet science.
Absolutely.
Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget to hit that like button on the video. Catch us every Friday night at 10 p.m. on the ESPN Network on the Roku channel. And we will be showing weekly content there and weekly content on all our social media sites. He's Chops. I'm Drew. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.